Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today we are going to talk about some of the first steps you should take before you start to publish your own music. A lot of you might be wondering, why is a podcast host talking about music? Well, for people who don't know, I used to write music back then, and I used to make some of my own songs. But because I didn't know some of these steps back then, I never released any of my own personal music, and I don't want the same to happen to you guys. So, with all that being said, nowadays you can literally say whatever you want and make some money, but without an audio engineer and a good studio, you aren't going to get anywhere. And I'm telling you that from a lesson that I learned. More than 70% of people who just try and make music without knowing someone fail. In this industry, you have to have a team to be successful. Now, I will say not a label, but a team. And I do say not a label because in today's world, most labels are going to just take advantage of you and use you for your image and money. I'm not going to name drop all these major corporations, but you can easily go do research online and see all of these artists talking about how their label wanted them to post this and that and beef with certain people just so they could get some clout and, not even realize what danger the label is even putting their artist in. And it's just not worth it at all. I mean, if you're going to do it right. Be independent for a while and grow your name. Let the labels build up and make sure you get the deal and rights that you want to your music. And if they don't do it, then you just keep pushing, because the last thing you want is to sign a contract with a label for however long and then they just take all of your money and you can't leave. And now you got to play it, you got to play it smart and just know your worth. Now you're probably asking, well, okay, if you're talking about a label, how do I even get my name out there in the first place? And that is the hard part. I've seen a bunch of other podcasters talk about this and not give this artist his credit. But there's an independent artist that goes by the name of Russ. He had a viral clip that went around. He was basically saying, in order to grow, you just don't drop albums. I mean, there's all of these new artists that have no fans that are just dropping 10, 15 songs, and none of them are getting heard. What you need to do is you just need to make a bunch of songs and you need to pick and you just drop them one by one and see which one gets picked up. You got to find your style. You got to grow your name, and then you can go and drop your album. And I couldn't agree anymore, because I've talked about this before. This overnight success stuff is rare and nothing's going to be easy, so you just need to perfect your work song by song. I mean, it could be anything from your mic volume to how much autotune you use to even how clear you pronounce your words. Because, all of it matters when it comes down to music, because you're never going to get it on the first try. I mean, if you look at rap back then and how crisp their flow was versus some of the, people who are in our generation now who just do straight mumble rap and you can't even really understand them. So music's changed a lot. But my advice to you is just do your research before anything. Look at a bunch of sites and videos. Try and learn as much as you can before you even start. That way, unlike the other a million people that are trying just like you, your music will just be a little better all around. And that's what's going to make the difference between you and the other artists. So today's quote is going to be by Russ himself. He once said, "You must work in the dark for your light to shine." And I'm kind of taking that as, while people are out partying, while people are out doing this, and you're missing opportunities and you're staying home and you're staying focused and you're working, that's you being in the dark. And while you do that, while you stay focused, while you grind, while everybody else is partying and having fun, you will be the first one to succeed. You will be the first one that sees that big chunk of money or that big deal or whatever you're striving for, because you're the one that's grinding. You're the one that's focusing. You're the one that's in the dark waiting for the light to shine. So with all that being said, you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dalton Podcast.